guys. Dr. Shawne is in the house. Lecture night. Tonight's topic is overcoming abandonment. If you're brand spanking new, make sure you tell us. And just if you've never been here before, every Monday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, I do some type of lecture. Has a theme of forgiveness, and it's really about making the unconscious conscious. That's if I were to really say, what does Project Forgive do? We make the unconscious conscious. So we have more productive, more loving, more intimate lives with the people that we love and care about. And that's really what we do. We spend a lot of time with women leaders in business, and we bring the conversation of forgiveness into the workplace. Non-religious, non-partisan, just like the conversation of someone got the job that you wanted and you can't stand them, and he got the job and now you got to work under him. Ugh, how do you cope with that? And the biggest thing that I love to do on these lectures is give you options for communication that brings us together. Yay, I see you guys. Hey, you guys are showing up. Hello, hello. Overcoming abandonment is the topic. Hi, Angie. Kaylee's in the house. Or Callie. Hi, Arlene. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see you guys. Hey, Barb. What's shaking? Reenie's in the house. Hi, Connie. Sandra's here too. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are here. All right. Good evening. Hi, Jeannie. It's nice to see ya. And so forgive me for last time. Just so you know, I'm going to redo that lecture. Last week I did a lecture on coping with criticism. I could not figure out what the freak is going on. I had a brand new phone with a new, hey, Cindy, it's nice to see you, with a new protective cover, and I had it inverted, so it was covering the audio. We tried everything. We tried it. We got all our tech people like, what is going on? And I had it on backwards, and it got figured out and handled. So woohoo! So if you saw that lecture and you really struggled your way through it, I'm going to redo the lecture with some addendums, because every time I do these topics, it in some way, in some capacity, applies to me too. I'm doing this just like you guys are. And one of the things I was thinking about today is, boy, I'm 57. I wish back in my 20s, when I really took on the conversation of personal development and personal growth and making the unconscious conscious. I wish somebody like me would have been online doing stuff like this, because it would have made it a heck of a lot easier. And that's how I see my job and my role, is to make your process easier and to give you insights quicker and faster, and communication ideas that bring you together, closer together with the people you love. That's really the game. Okay. So this conversation of abandonment. Now, this is a complicated topic. It's complicated. So to expect that all your abandonment issues are going to disappear after today, it's not going to happen that way, okay? It is a process, not an event. And sometimes abandonment issues, they stem from loneliness, which can be a phobia or a form of anxiety. These issues affect your relationships and can come from a childhood loss too, but not always. Usually we think abandonment issues are about growing up with a harsh household or neglect or something going on in the household. I definitely had that in mind, and I'm sure many of you do too. And but it's not always about that. It's really about how we're hardwired as human beings, that we're in that fight or flight mode. That's kind of how our amygdala brain works. And fear of abandonment is a primal issue. So no matter how you grew up, you're going to have to deal with this, because you're human. It's a human issue. And there's nothing to get rid of. And I love saying that statement. There's no abandonment to get rid of. It's about overcoming. It's really, truly, if I were to use the correct word, it would be embracing it, to level up your level of maturity, emotional intelligence, so that you can navigate this and actually saying, there's fear of abandonment just showed up. Let me take a breath, quiet down for a minute, and to constantly make the unconscious conscious. And that's really the goal tonight. So before I get going into this primal fear that we all have, of course, I've got a few commercials. I have to deeply shout out General Motors. General Motors, by far, has been the biggest corporation to promote, purchase, create forgiveness in the workplace. We love you, General Motors. We would not be able to do what we're doing without you. So huge shout out to General Motors. I also want to shout out a Facebook partner of ours. Her name is Willy, and you probably know her page. It's called The Journey Home. Have you ever seen The Journey Home? It's so funny. She puts up the best posts, and she's a lovely, exquisite human being. And thank you, Willy, and we'll make sure anything I mention, I'll put up links and all that so you can access it very quickly and efficiently. And just really wanted to shout out The Journey Home. If you're new, like I said, please tell us. We want to welcome you because people in our community will just love you up and say, hey, so glad you're here. And if you're stars, we love stars. We're getting ready to launch our actual workshop starting in June. They'll be up. They'll be very low cost. We will, and I will say this repeatedly, we will never turn anyone away because they don't have $7 or whatever the workshops are going to be. That's one of the reasons why we do the stars, because we actually create it so anybody can come to the workshops. There'll be our workshops usually on our highest, most progressive tool called the Apology You'll Never Receive. The tool frickin' works, you guys. If you've ever been to any of our trainings, you have been like, oh, dang, that is an amazing tool. And we'll be doing that monthly. If you're inspired by our store, woohoo, please buy. We have Project Forgive merch now, as my daughter says. Ooh, you got merch, Mama, you got merch. And we do. We have masks, we have necklaces, we have coffee mugs coming out really soon. And we're almost ready to put up our essential oils. I'm a huge fan of essential oils. We had a blend made for forgiveness. And if you're an essential oil person, please know that we found exquisite people to partner with us and make these blends for us. And we will have them be very low cost so people can afford them, okay? Let's see. I always give away a prize. Tonight's prize, I do it at the end of the lecture, which is usually about 15, 20 minutes. Tonight's prize is this. We're going to give you one of our Kindness is Contagious masks. We got a white one going on. We got a little Merc package it's a healthcare package for your pets. It's got scissors and all kinds of stuff in here for your animals. We're very pro-animal. And then I'm including this book tonight too. It's called The Sister Accord, 51 Ways to Love Your Sister. It's by Sonia Jackson Miles. This book is beautiful. So someone's going to win this cute little package tonight. And unfortunately, fortunately, you have to be in the U.S., and I'll give you those details when we actually pick someone randomly to win the raffle, and we ship it to you here in the United States. Hey, I can already see people are thanking people for being here. Hi, Julie. Welcome, Megan. Bonnie, you're so kind. I love it that you guys are doing this. You guys are all saying hi. Hi, Tammy. Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. Okay, perfect. Okay, now I'm looking at Jamie. Careful with some people, just careful with some people, because sometimes people come on. That's why we're doing the private workshops. People come on and there could be scam artists going on saying, hey, message me, hit me up. Please avoid those folks like the plague, okay? Because that is not good for your mental, emotional, spiritual, physical health to connect with folks that are doing that on Facebook. It's a scam, okay? A couple more things. Join our Monday Joy emails. We send those out. We never sell your email. Also, we have a Joy is a Habit Facebook group. And come spread some joy, be with some joy, because we love the conversation of joy and really focusing on that. Not to ignore anything else that's going on, and to help you find more focus on joy in your life. And of course, we do amazing workshops. If you work for a progressive company that'd say, dang, bring her in. We do virtual and live presentations now with everyone getting their shots. We haven't really traveled yet, but we're getting ready to. We're gearing up to for the fall. And okay, here we go. Abandonment. Overcoming abandonment. Let's see what you guys are saying. Do I need to notice? Let me just look. I can see you guys are showing up. Oh, yeah. Perfect, Jamie. I totally get it. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm so glad. You guys are just wonderful. All right. This abandonment issue, for those just joining us, this is a primal thing. It's part of being human. So it's nothing to fix, solve. I like the word overcome. I like the word embracing better. Embracing abandonment issues so that we can, because when you can see it, when it's conscious, you can start making different choices. That's what the cool thing, that's what making the unconscious conscious is all about. So, of course, two primary staples that will always help, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say them. Number one is therapy. We're big proponents of therapy. There's so many online telemedicine therapy groups to really help with that conversation of abandonment. Highly, highly suggest it. and highly suggest it. Huge proponent of therapy. And also, we're going to focus on self-care. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to dive a little deeper into this conversation. And when you think about abandonment, it's usually childhood memories like are the biggest contributor to developing abandonment issues when you were a kid and then you become adult. And that traumatic event, may include the loss of a parent. It could include divorce. It could include death or not getting enough emotional or physical care as a child. And abandonment happens in more of a straightforward kind of way if your caregiver or your parent didn't provide you with a consistent, warm, or a ton of interactions. And I think that might be all of us because no parent is perfect. Some of us got more of a raw deal. That's just the way the cards are dealt, and that's just the way it is. And abandonment issues become more prevalent as you age and you get deep patterns of how you communicate. So we want to unlock, uncover, unpack some of those deep habits that we have so we can get out of the cycle of those abandonment issues. And I'll talk about that a little bit. All right. I think I want to talk about styles first. There's 3 primary styles and when I say these styles, I'll let you know I'm going to put them all up in the notes so you'll be able to access them. And you could have just one. You could have all 3. One could be prominent. It doesn't matter. It's just to raise your awareness that this really is a real thing, okay? And the first one's called avoidant attachment style. This is people you don't allow anyone to get really that close to you. You may feel like you can't open up or trust others. And how you occur to others is you might occur as distant, or you might occur as very private or withdrawn, sometimes even arrogant. Sometimes we see arrogant people, we think that they're hoity-toity, but really they got abandonment issues and they're very withdrawn and held in. Then there's the anxious attachment style. This is more my style. You cope by developing intensely close and dependent relationships with others. And it's kind of like, you meet someone and you immediately become best friends. You ever? It almost is like it's enmeshed, but your peeps. And then it can get that double-edged sword because you get attached too quickly and then weird things start to happen and you're like, oh crap, I should have seen that a mile away, right? And sometimes we don't. We just don't have that radar. We're so open and just want to connect. And you may feel some anxiety about separating yourself from your partner and maybe even be emotionally reactive. And it may be easy to see conflict as a concern that your partner may leave, and which makes you act out of fear. This is all unconscious. It isn't like you're in a fight with your partner and you say, oh, my fear of abandonment issues are here, and so that's why I'm reacting this way. No. It's like, hey, you jerk. It's a very different reality in the moment when we're triggered or it happens. Okay, you guys following my line of logic? Give me some thumbs up so I know you're following my line of logic. Then there's one more that's a little less common. It's called disorganized attachment style. And these are folks that really have a difficulty remaining intimate and close. But you're also inconsistent. Like one day you're deeply close, one day you're not close at all. It's very inconsistent, and you may be feeling anxious about being in a relationship and want to avoid the closeness. And sometimes with the disorganized attachment style, you may have other things going on too. So that's the lesser of the 3. So here's some common signs, okay? For those just joining us, this is Dr. Shawne, my weekly lectures at 6:30 p.m. Tonight we're talking about overcoming abandonment, okay? So what are some common signs of abandonment? Giving too much or being overly eager to please, I've definitely been an overgiver my whole life, okay? And if it were up to me, I'd give away 30 prizes, but that's not healthy, so I only give away 1, and then I kind of jam a bunch of things in. But I struggle with overly giving. Sometimes jealousy in the relationship or wondering where they are. Trusting others' intentions. You could have so many things that with someone that you deeply trust them, but in the back of your mind, you're always questioning their intentions. Like, are they really going to take care of me? Are they really going to do what they say they're going to do? That's definitely one of mine. I can deeply relate to this one. having difficulty in feeling intimate emotionally. And I'm not talking about sex, although, because sex to me is in another box, because we can turn our emotions off and still do the mechanics of sex. It's okay, I'm allowed to say sex, I'm a doctor, okay? So it's not like the most exquisite sexual encounter would be when you're emotionally and spiritually available as well as physically available. And so when you're having difficulty being intimate, needing to, this, I love this one, needing to control or be controlled by your partner. I watch that dynamic in my relationship all day long. Someone's always in control, and that's the pattern I personally want to break, because control really is about abandonment and trusting that someone has your back. It doesn't mean you feel like this 100% of the time. That's not what it is. I'm talking about when you're triggered into something, you can feel that intensity, and you might have a hard time breathing, and you're like, oh crap, here I go again in this habitual abandonment dynamic that happens. And sometimes we even settle into relationships that are deeply unsatisfactory, like trying to get our needs met, trying to go to the hardware store to get milk. You ever been there, done that? My first marriage I was married to an alcoholic, so I know that drill really well, okay? So how can it look? How does it look when you're in that abandonment place? You could have really unrealistic expectations from your partner. Let me give you an example. We just got a new kitchen floor put in. I've been waiting for this floor, okay? I'm a multitasker. I can do many things at once. Anybody else relate to that? My husband is not like that at all. He's not hardwired like that at all. He will be engrossed in a task at hand, and if I even bring up other stuff, it's like, oh crap, please don't. I've got enough on my plate. So he's very linear in how he processes. And chances are really high that if you get married or if you have a partner, that they're the exact opposite than you. I just think that's the way it works, that we're sandpaper rubbing each other together and trying to find a way to work, okay? So we usually pick someone who's deeply opposite us. And like an unrealistic expectation for me would be having my husband doing work in the kitchen, then ask him about some really important real estate documents. That is not the time to do it, okay? But then I justify it because it needs to get handled today before we go out of town on Wednesday, and we need to take it and get it notarized tomorrow. But that is, and I could already see my husband's distress, and I'm pushing, and he's upset, which makes perfect sense. So that would be an example of an unrealistic expectation, because when you're with a partner, and these conversations really are about your most intimate relationships, the people you deeply, deeply care about and you deeply care about getting close to. So let me give you that caveat too, okay? Another thing that we do when we're in the trigger of abandonment is we try to squelch our feelings. We try to shovel them down. 10 Reese's peanut butter cups, that's my staple. We do things to shove those feelings away so we don't have to address and acknowledge them. That's usually a boundary issue, that we haven't set appropriate boundaries. I have lots of sessions on boundary making, but just to give you a sense of how it might look. And two, I can relate to this one, trying to manipulate your partner, excuse me, I meant to say partner, into doing something to make you feel better. Like, here's an odd example, but clean the garage, get your side of the garage clean. I'm also very sensitive to extra stuff around. I've always been that way. And I've tried every trick in the book to get my husband to clean the garage. And it's really, the reason it's never worked, or a lot of it hasn't worked for many years, is because it was pure manipulation to get my needs met. And how do you release that manipulation? How do you actually look at the real issues, what might be the fear of abandonment issue? Okay, we'll get there, I promise. Let's see. Twisting yourself in a pretzel to hide your panic. Anybody ever done that? I've done that many times. Like trying to make it work, even though it's not working. When do I let something go? These are all tied into abandonment issues. And I was really surprised myself when I was reading several academic articles on it, because I'm an academic. I love academic articles. And I got some new insight myself as a 57-year-old grandmother doing this for decades, right? Here's another one that shows up for me. Like, let's say abandonment shows up and you're triggered. and you say things you totally regret. You become like the total B word. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Been there, done that. I've even done it this week. And then what happens is you go into a shame spiral, and then you like loathe yourself that you said such crappy things to someone you love so much. And so you become shrouded in that shame for feeling so needy. And one of the things I remind myself of when the trigger happens or I can feel it going on is just to simply be gentle with myself and, oh my gosh, Shawne, you're feeling really needy, aren't you? What can we do right now to soothe some of this neediness? Right? That's the way I talk to myself, and it really works for me. So I've got some ideas of what you can do. It's going to be generic, and then I'm going to give you some phrases that will help you in talking about this with the partner that you get needy with, or the partner where the abandonment shows up. And I really come from the belief system that when you're triggered or when things come up, it's actually beautiful. Because if you've created some really safe environments or safe people in your life, you can actually have the most authentic, honest conversations. And that's where the real healing begins, when you're in a relationship with someone and you can actually start talking about this out loud, right? Hey, Christine, thank you so much for sending stars. Thanks for sending stars, guys. Okay, first thing is you got to stop beating yourself up, man. I can beat myself up on a dime, that shame spiral, and that's when I say those really gentle things to myself. Oh, little Shawne. And I literally call myself little Shawne. It's okay, sweetheart. It brings me to tears even saying it, that I have that much compassion for myself when something really painful is going on, right? It's to have that self-compassion. You can feel it right now as I'm being with you, like settling in and being compassionate with myself. One of the biggest things that I love is being able to accept that abandonment is part of being human. It's part of our amygdala brain. It's part of our core. It's part of how our brain operates. We were designed, however you want to explain that designation or that design, for me it's God, to be able to protect ourselves when we're in danger. And sometimes our abandonment shows up that we're in danger when we actually aren't. So I'm always willing to accept this fear as part of who I am as a human. And just even having someone say it out loud is very soothing. It is for me. And for some of you, it will be as well. Thank you. I can see you guys are joining us. For those just joining us, this is Project Forgive. I'm Dr. Shawne. We're having a conversation on overcoming abandonment. And Evelyn, I am so with you. I'm so with you. And one of the reasons, like, I hate it when I feel needy is because needy was bad for me as a little girl. You children are seen and not heard. This is not to diss parents. It's not. Our parents did the best they could. I really believe that. And they did what they could with the skills that they had. And now here we are as adults making the unconscious conscious to make it better for the next generations, to make it better for ourselves. And that really is the goal, not to beat up on parents. They really did do the best they can, even if they were horrible, psychopathic, crazy people, okay? It happens, right? All right. So accepting, so we've got beating yourself up, giving that up, and doing some things to self-soothe. Accept that the fear is part of being human. Here's another one, like a bigger overriding feeling about choosing to take 100% responsibility for any neediness feelings that come up that your partner can't meet, instead of laying it at their feet. I've laid a lot at my husband's feet. And I want to say it's even more exacerbated during COVID because we're with our partners more so than not because of COVID, right? So the intensity is even higher. And I'm kind of grateful for that personally, because it's really showing me what I need to work on. And I believe when our neediness gets hit, when our insecurities get hit, that we're actually uncovering what the kind of work that we need to do, right? Yeah, I'm with you. I got you, Wendy. Yeah. Yeah. And oh, Jacqueline, you're so spot on. Everybody has a different perception of what happened and how it looks. You're so spot on. Okay. I like this one because I saw it in an article. It said, approach your partner, the person you're choosing to be in an intimate relationship with self-confidence born of self-responsibility. And that's something I've been working on. Let me show you this. I'm going to show you this on my wall. This is a recent one. Let's see if you can see it. Let me flip it around. Hang on. Let me flip this around. Here we go. This is on my wall. I have notes, like different things that I put on my my board. And I got this, I'm an Esther Hicks fan, so I love law of attraction, stuff like that. And I'm just gonna live your dreams now, Shawne, to any degree that you can, with every purchase, every decision, every hello and goodbye. It causes me to be intentional with what comes out of my mouth and to reframe every thought, word, and deed from the perspective of the person you've always dreamed you'd be. And I love this because I know my own neediness shows up. I know my own pain shows up. And sometimes when I'm triggered or I'm feeling like, oh, this possibly could be abandonment issues, it's like, okay, if I didn't have abandonment pop up right now, who would I be right now? In the dance of withdrawal, there's that dance that happens. And I can say to myself, okay, Shawne, you just came to Terry, my husband, and he's rejecting you because he doesn't want to get close right now because he's hurting. I could very easily go in the habit of withdrawing right back, like, fine, be that way. I'm efforting and you're not doing anything. Are you with me? In those moments, I can actually say to myself, okay, honey bunch, he's still hurting. Can you hold space? Can you be here and not take it personal? Can you still be loving and make a conscious choice to still be loving? Now, this is not easy, you guys. It's not even close to easy. And what I notice, though, the more I practice it, the better I get at it. And I really believe personally that our hardest relationships are with the ones we love the most, like your partner. So that's where I put the most of my effort. And that's probably where I'm most triggered, is with my husband. You know, work, it's like easy peasy. Because all I do is deal with conflict in my work. I'm a consultant and I deal with conflict, problems, high pressure. And that's so easy peasy. And sometimes, though, with my husband, when I'm really struggling with my husband, I'll say, okay, what would you do if this were a work situation? I deeply unattach, deeply go into my highest self, and deeply be able to meet needs instead of me being the one who's needy, right? Okay. So one thing that I noticed here, it says this whole conversation of abandonment and the recovery of it doesn't happen by itself. It's a conscious effort. And there's a ton of tools. I found so many tools, you guys. And I was really actually pleasantly surprised to see some of these tools. And before I give you, I'm going to tell you about the link for the tools. I'm going to give you 3 phrases in communication that you can use when you're in the midst of being hooked with abandonment with someone you dearly love and want to be close to. Okay? Yep, I'm with you. I'm so with you about wanting to smack them sometimes. Okay, so here's some of the phrases, and you can copy them. Some of this stuff I write down and I carry in a little notebook, and I'll say, wait a minute, I need to respond, and I'll look it up in my little notebook. Okay, here's a couple. So let's say you're triggered, you're feeling very needy, you're feeling abandonment. You don't know if it is abandonment, but you think it might be, okay? Because this is unconscious stuff, right? And the more you play in it, the more you're going to get consciousness around it, okay? Here's one. Wow, Terry, I'd say to my husband, I'm noticing fear of abandonment is coming up right now. Let me take a deep breath and start again, okay, honey? He would so respond to that, okay? Here's another one. I'd say to my husband, oh my goodness, fear of abandonment is rearing its ugly head again. I appreciate you letting me be this vulnerable with you, because I can tell this is totally that abandonment thing that's showing up. And then another one. Honey, let me take a break right now. I can feel my triggers and I want to be accountable for having a loving relationship with you. This is not your stuff, and I'm committed to being close. Now, I know it sounds so simple, and they work. They really, really, really work, okay? And when it comes to overcoming or embracing, I'm almost done, you guys, and I'll be giving away a prize here in a minute. The first step is understanding what the triggers are and where do you go and what do you do. And for me, it's usually high anger. Like when I'm really revved up, That's my biggest indication that I'm in abandonment issues, right? And there's no instant cure here. This is a process, not an event. And this gal that I found, her name is Susan Anderson. She's a psychotherapist. She's a lecturer. She's written a lot of books on abandonment and its impact of self-defeating behaviors. Because really, abandonment issues cause self-defeating behaviors, and we want to up that level, up that game. And so I'm going to give you a link. I didn't look at the pricing. I think it was low cost. I was just so mesmerized by the material, so I'll be sure to put that link up in the notes as soon as we're done, okay? All right, I'm about to do a prize. Before I do a prize next week, I'm going to go back to coping with criticism because I totally messed up that audio, and I'm going to redo. Next week, by chance, I am going to be in Florida. Me and my husband are getting ready to go see the grandkids, and got our shots and our masks, and we're all set. And my daughter's the one that lost her baby, and she just needs some extra tender care, and that's what we're going to do. And so next week, I will be out of town next Monday. So the lecture next week, it's very rare that it changes. It's going to be next Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. I typically do it on Tuesday, but I have trainings at night with my Facebook class and stuff. So I can't do it Tuesday, can't do it Monday because I'll be on a plane. So it's going to be Wednesday. I'll be sure to put up a link and put up the date so you know that next week Monday is not our regular class, okay? Yeah. Yeah, you're so spot on, Jacqueline. Oh, thank you, Terry. I appreciate you. It's been a journey, man. Okay, prizes. Who wants to win? Okay, and so when you win, it is so not fair. Can I tell you that I know that you know that I know that you know it's not fair? Because I'm going to give you a phrase to put in the comments, and the first person that shows up with the comment in my feed. And please know it'll show up differently in other people's feeds. It's kind of like Zoom. Some people are at the top and you're at the bottom and everybody looks different. And so it's going to be in my feed, okay? And you guys are so sweet. I hear you guys want to win. You have to be in the U.S. to win. You have to be in the U.S. to win. I love you too, Terry. So I'm going to give you a phrase. And I want you to do something simple like, let me be self-serving and say, I love Project Forgive. First person that puts in, I love Project Forgive. However you want to write it, you can misspell it, and you're from the United States, you get this shipped out to you tomorrow. So the first person that puts, I love Project Forgive, gets these 3 prizes. We got the Sister Accord book. We've got a little animal health pack from Merck, and we also have one of our masks. So I'm looking to see, I love Project Forgive. Yeah, hi Celeste, I'm glad you're here. Kathy, it's you. Kathy Castile, it's you. And I don't know if you've won before, but just so you know, you can win every single week. I love that whole conversation of winning and winning and winning. All you got to do, thank you all for playing. I love you guys for playing. You can win many times. Kathy, all you got to do is message me here. It's just me and Hailey, so the messaging is very safe. I need your mailing address here in the United States, and I also need your email because we put your email in the tracking so you know when the package is arriving, okay? And so message me tonight so I can get it out tomorrow to you. That would be great. And yeah, I love you guys. All right, so next week is going to be criticism, coping with criticism with some caveats because some new things happened in that criticism that was just exquisite with me and my husband. And I asked him, I said, are you okay if I share this with people? He's like, sure, he's awesome. So, and if you're inspired, please share us. Anytime you share us, you make a difference for us. We get folks like General Motors that say, wow, you reach so many people. We want to be a part of this. And so whenever you share us, whether it's live, whether it's just a poster, you make a difference for us. And I love that you guys are congratulating Kathy. Thank you for doing that, Clara. That's so sweet. And okay, that's it. Exquisiteness. I will see you guys next week, Wednesday. I'll probably pop up while I'm in Florida just to say hey. And big love to all of you. You are so welcome. You are so welcome, Sandra. Okay, big love, everybody. Mwah. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.